We need to talk about what Samsung is doing with the Galaxy Z Flip 8, because if the latest leaks are true, the company is making a very dangerous bet. For years, the flip-style foldable has been the cool kid on the block. It's the phone for people who want the future in their pocket without carrying a brick, and it's the device that actually made foldables feel mainstream. But there's a fine line between refining a winning formula and getting lazy, and the Z Flip 8 might be walking right up to that line and stepping over it. We just got a massive report from Galaxy Club that reveals almost everything about the camera, the design, the processor, and the price, and honestly, some of you are going to be disappointed, while others might finally be ready to upgrade. It's a mix of exciting new tech and some frustratingly familiar hardware. So let's break down exactly what is happening with Samsung's next bestseller. The biggest headline here, and the one that is going to cause the most controversy in the comments, is the camera situation. We all know that cameras are usually the first thing to get cut when manufacturers try to save space in a foldable phone. You just don't have the physical room for those massive sensors you see on the S24 Ultra. However, users have been begging for a serious camera upgrade on the Flip series for years. Well, according to this new report, you might want to lower your expectations. It looks like Samsung is planning to copy and paste the camera hardware from the Z Flip 7 directly onto the Z Flip 8. We're talking about the exact same 50-megapixel main sensor and the same 12-megapixel ultrawide sensor. Even the front-facing selfie camera is expected to stay at that familiar 10 megapixels. On paper, this setup looks virtually identical to what we already have. Now, before you click away in anger, we have to look at the nuance here. Megapixels aren't everything. We know that Samsung is incredibly good at optimizing software. They could technically squeeze better dynamic range or low-light performance out of these same sensors using newer processing algorithms. But for the camera enthusiasts out there, the people who look at spec sheets, this is going to hurt. The biggest omission, once again, is a telephoto lens. If you want optical zoom, you're out of luck. Samsung seems determined to keep the Flip series as a lifestyle device rather than a pro photography tool. It is an understandable compromise from an engineering standpoint, but when you're paying premium prices, it stings a little to know you are getting hardware that hasn't physically changed in a year. This decision makes a lot more sense when you look at how Samsung is treating its bigger brother, the Galaxy Z Fold 8. The rumors suggest that the Fold 8 is getting all the love this year. We are hearing about a massive upgrade to a 50-megapixel ultra-wide sensor, a bigger battery, and a lighter design for the Fold. It seems like Samsung is drawing a very clear line in the sand. If you want the absolute best specs and the craziest cameras, they want you to buy the expensive Fold. If you want style, portability, and a phone that fits in your skinny jeans, you buy the Flip. They are separating the two lineups more aggressively than ever before. And while that makes business sense, it leaves the Flip 8 feeling a bit like the neglected middle child in the camera department. However, it is not all bad news. In fact, there is one specific rumor about the Z Flip 8 that could completely redeem it. While the cameras are staying the same, the body of the phone is going on a diet. The reports suggest the new device could be around 10% thinner and lighter than its predecessor. Now, 10% might not sound like a huge number when you say it out loud, but when you're holding a device in your hand that you fold and unfold dozens of times a day, that is a massive difference. Portability is the entire point of this phone. People buy the Flip because they're tired of carrying giant glass slabs. If Samsung has found a way to shave off bulk and refine that hinge mechanism even further without making the phone fragile, that is a huge win. A thinner phone feels more premium, it sits better in a pocket, and it just looks more futuristic. If the trade-off for a super sleek design is reusing the old cameras, a lot of casual users are going to take that deal every single time. Let's talk about what is powering this thing, because this is where it gets real. Interesting for the tech nerds. Under the hood, the Z Flip 8 is expected to debut with Samsung's brand new Exynos 2600 chipset. Now, I know the word Exynos makes some of you nervous. Historically, Samsung's own chips have sometimes struggled with heat and battery life compared to their Snapdragon counterparts. But this time might be different. This chip is rumored to be built on a 2-nanometer process. That is the cutting edge of chip manufacturing, Moving to 2-nanometer technology should theoretically offer a massive jump in efficiency and performance. We're talking about a chip that is faster, smarter, and arguably most importantly, much better on battery life. If the Exynos 2600 delivers on its promises, the Z Flip 8 could be a powerhouse that finally silences the critics who say foldables aren't powerful enough for heavy users. Of course, all of this tech comes down to one thing: the price. With component costs rising all over the world, we have seen phone prices creeping up year after year. But the report from Galaxy Club claims Samsung is fighting hard to keep the price tag flat. We are looking at a starting price of around $1,100, which is basically the same launch price we have seen before. This explains so much about the rest of the phone. Keeping the price at $1,100 while using a cutting-edge 2-nanometer chip and engineering a thinner body is expensive. The money has to come from somewhere. Suddenly, reusing the camera sensors doesn't look like laziness anymore. It looks like a calculated cost-cutting measure to keep the phone affordable. Samsung is prioritizing the processor and the design over the camera specs to keep that $1,100 price point intact. It is a balancing act, and honestly, it might be the smart move in this economy. So where does that leave us? We are still about 6 months away from the official launch, likely coming in July. That means there's plenty of time for things to change, but usually when leaks are this specific this early on, they tend to be accurate. The picture being painted of the Galaxy Z Flip 8 is one of refinement, not revolution. It is a device that is doubling down on being the best portable, stylish phone on the market, even if it means sacrificing camera zoom to get there. It is going to be thinner, lighter, and faster, but it won't be the camera king. For the average person who just wants a cool phone that takes good enough Instagram photos, this is going to be a fantastic upgrade. For the hardcore techies, you might want to wait and see what the reviews say about that new Exynos chip. This strategy is risky, but it is also confident. Samsung knows they own the flip phone market, and they are playing to their strengths. They are betting that you care more about how the phone feels in your pocket than you care about a telephoto lens. Whether that bet pays off is something we will have to wait until July to see, but one thing is for sure. The foldable war is just getting started, and the Z Flip 8 is going to be right on the front lines. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the leaks, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video with your tech-loving friends, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on the latest gadgets. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is the lack of a camera upgrade a deal breaker for you? Or is the thinner design worth it? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.